Telepathy.
Telepathy.
Your favorite podcast on the internet.
With Enzo Antonio and Anna Catherine. Hola, y'all. Welcome back to Telepathy, the podcast that comes out every Tuesday with Enzo Antonio and Anna Catherine.
So true. It's an hola, y'all kind of day.
It is an
Hola,
hola, y'all kind
y'all.
of day. I feel like we're feeling kind of silly and goofy.
Yes, we pregame. No, we didn't pregame telepathy, but like we, that's not what I meant. I meant that
We
more
warmed
like,
up.
We warmed up. We went through some lore, and we're about to go through so much more lore because episode 113 of Telepathy is, in fact, talking about childhood trauma. Buckle up, guys. This is crazy. I think that we're going to learn a lot about ourselves, and maybe you guys will relate or learn something new. But we're going to be diving into our personal childhood roots and how those have manifested in our 18-year-old and 23-year-old selves. Which, speaking of our age, do you see what I did there?
That is a perfect segue. Yes, that's a perfect segue into our telepathy traditions, which is the camp question. And if
Indeed.
y'all are a returning listener, you know exactly where we're going.
Yes, it's episode 113, which is an odd number. Therefore, the work has been delegated to me. I am doing the camp question today. So everyone buckle up. Name, age, and what is your favorite way to listen to music? I don't know if we've done this question before, but
Ooh.
do you like a speaker moment, a headphones moment, AirPods? I feel like I could have asked this. I don't know.
I'm going to try to get like really specific. I love listening to music. Oh, hold on. I just totally
Wait a minute there. Back it up. Reverse.
I just got too excited. I just realized that one of my lamps is off and that might be contributing to the lighting that looks slightly different. So give me like 1 second. Do you want to go first, actually?
Oh, okay, sure. I guess to like save time because, your time is precious and we recognize that. Okay, anyways. Hey guys, I'm Enzo. I'm 18 years old. I'm going to be referencing my 5-year-old self probably a lot in this episode, but my favorite way to listen to music is definitely in my AirPods. I feel like that's the most convenient method most of the time. And I got new AirPods this year and it just sounds so much better. And it has like the stereo thing kind of, or no, maybe it's not stereo. It's just like the music feels so much more like 360.
360.
Yeah.
Probably when you're looking at me.
The way I can't say anything because it just like leads to another thought because I can't stay composed. Okay, yes.
I'm so Julia.
Exactly. We're so Julia. But yeah, honorable mention to listening to music in the car because I kind of do miss my Subaru. Hope she's doing well. And I love a car bop.
Yeah, wait. Do you miss driving? I kind of forgot about that.
Honestly, no, because the only roads that I see here, like driving in Austin sounds terrible. Driving in any city sounds terrible. There's always crosswalks. There's always stop signs. There's one ways. I wouldn't know how to navigate it. So seeing the road, I'm like, yeah, I'm good not driving, guys. Thanks.
Yeah. I have a name. It's Anna.
Yes.
I'm 23 and I would say that my top favorite is probably driving on a long road trip by myself.
That's good.
I like listening to music with other people in a road trip, but sometimes it's kind of awkward because you maybe don't have the same taste or like I want to play my like songs that I really love, but I don't know what people will think about them. I don't know. I have like music like insecurity even though I know I have the best music taste, but like
there's two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. I also love listening to music in my AirPods while I'm like cleaning because I feel like listening to music while cleaning like really hits. Like if you're in that cleaning
when you get into the flow state.
Yeah, when you get into the flow of cleaning, I feel like the music can be really good. That's really it. Those are my top choices.
And we have to do it. Speaking of music, now we're going to talk about our music and TV shout-outs of this week. I'm shouting out 2 songs. First one is Calamity Jane by Lady Heroin. Just good vibes. That's all I have to say about that. And then Maui Waui by Kid Cudi. There's also no exclamation to that. It's just more like, that Maui Waui. That's just the vibe for this week. Happy Halloween, guys.
That's just the TikTok song this week. You're so original.
I know. Chronically online. That's fine. Okay. What is your music shout-out?
Actually, Inhaler came out with a new song yesterday. It's kind of like a deluxe song from their most recent album. And I was such a fake fan. I didn't listen until today because I kept forgetting. Like, genuinely, what's wrong with me? it made me feel really bad about myself. But I listened to it today and it's really good. And it is called Hole in the Ground. I'm also wearing my new Inhaler shirt today, if you want to take a look. It's pretty cool. And if you want to listen to any of these songs that we shout out, we do have a Spotify playlist called the Telepathy Playlist that you can listen to. If you go to our Instagram, tap the highlight titled playlist, we kind of just did, I kind of just did a little redesign of the highlights section because it was getting to be a lot. And I feel like nobody really looks through highlights unless it's like purposeful things. So now our highlights are just the link to the playlist. And I started doing the music shout outs on our stories every Tuesday.
I love so much.
Yeah, which we could switch to a different day. I could do like Music Mondays. I've been wanting to do like a Music Mondays thing for a while.
This is true.
I might do that. But you can go check out all of our song shout outs every week when we post the new episode. But yes, link in our bio, link in our highlights under playlist to see the Telepathy Playlist. Do you have any movie shout outs or TV shout outs?
I don't. I mean, in the screening last week, we watched a couple of episodes. We watched I Love Lucy and a few other episodes of The Times, and it was just like misogynistic television. So she doesn't even get a shout out because it wasn't good. So
I am still working my way through Sex and the City. I'm actually like really sad for when the day comes that I finish it because I realized I'm on season 4 and there's only 5 seasons, and I was like, I don't really want to think about that day because it's been a really good comfort show. I mean, I can always rewatch it, but it's just not the same, you know. And then 2 nights ago, I watched Corpse Bride because tomorrow is Halloween, in fact, and I love watching all the like claymation animated movies. I think I'm gonna watch Nightmare Before Christmas tonight.
Because it's the Nightmare Before Christmas. Or wait, Christmas isn't tomorrow. Halloween is tomorrow. But like,
it's the Nightmare Before Halloween.
Mariah Carey is on her way.
Oh my gosh! Because personally, I think that Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween movie.
I think yes as well.
Mainly just because I think there's so many other great Christmas movies, and I think there's not that many Halloween movies that aren't like horror movies.
Okay, so you're like,
so I think it's like, yeah, like you can have her like I need to watch a fun Halloween movie, and you are one of them. So that's
love
my
that.
opinion.
Love. Okay, how was your week?
Thanks for asking. Sorry, I just had to plug in my computer. It's been good. I've been trying really hard this week to like spend less time on my phone because it was getting really bad. Like a week ago, it was just like getting really bad.
It was our last episode that did it for you.
Yeah, probably. Because that episode actually came at good timing too because I had been thinking about that already the whole week. And
Me too.
I had just gotten to be like, oh my gosh, like I come home and I spend so much time on my phone, and then that's
like we're wasting our lives.
If I keep doing this, my life is just going to be work, come home from work, go on phone, sleep. And I don't want it to be that. So anyways, for Christmas this past year, I got a brick, which is a magnet thing that you can stick like usually like on your fridge, and you have to like scan your phone into it to unlock certain apps.
Okay.
And so you go into the brick app, you say like ready to brick, you go over to wherever you put it. I put mine on the fridge and scan it. And then it locks all the apps that you tell it to lock. So, and then it sets a little timer and it shows how long you've been like
away,
locked out. So I've been doing that and it's been good because you're intentionally being like, okay, I'm not going to go on my phone. And so then I've been like reading a bit more this week. I started reading Throne of Glass because my friend let me borrow the book. So getting back into that. And we had a Halloween thing at work yesterday, which was really fun. My team dressed up. It was supposed to be a trunk or treat, but we did it in like a conference room because it was raining. But we did Alice in Wonderland, and we did like a mad tea party, and it was really, really fun.
Yes. Okay.
What about you?
Weekend. So there was the Comm Council Halloween party on Thursday, which go watch my Get Ready for Me or get ready with me for that. That was a fun video. That was a fun party too. And then the next day we did a little lake trip with Comm Council, whatever. And we went to, I think it was Lake Travis. It was like 30 minutes away. And we just played a bunch of games. It was fun to see some other Texas scenery that's not UT Austin or not West Campus because it's like where I am.
Was it overnight?
It was supposed to be, but then the weather got bad. And thankfully, I left like right before the weather started getting really bad. because that would have been
Oh,
like,
good.
that would have been drama. So,
Yeah.
yes. And then this week, I've just been like waiting for Halloween. I've been a little bit unproductive, but at the end of the day, like I got everything that I needed to done. I just think, like you were saying, I've been thinking about phone usage a lot recently, and this week I was not good at that, but I got all my stuff done. So I'm giving myself a little bit of grace, but we will be working on that. Trust. So yes.
Yeah. If you want to hear more about all the phone stuff, we did do last week's episode was about phone addiction, just in a broader sense, not just in the short form media sense as we always have to talk about. But
As we talk about a lot.
if you have been feeling the same way as us, I recommend listening to that episode, and maybe it'll like knock you more into reality of like, okay, this needs to stop, because
Like, let's do
that's how
this.
I've been feeling. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that was last episode, but let's discuss this episode now. So, how did we have this idea? Because I know we mentioned it it was towards the end of an episode where we were like, oh, that would be
Yeah.
good. I think it was not small talk, but you were talking about how growing up with not as many friends as you would have liked.
What the heck was that episode? It was like 2 episodes ago.
Wait, I'm like
Okay, I
blanking
actually like
so
need
bad.
to protecting your peace and showing up for your friends.
Durr, and I love that episode too. How could I forget about her? Guys, we love all of
I
our
know.
children. Do not worry.
Yeah, I genuinely don't feel like I have an episode that I like hate.
Yeah, because
dislike.
then you guys wouldn't see it. Hashtag integrity. But okay, what was your thought process in that episode that led us here? If you want to recap that a little bit, if you remember.
Yeah.
'Cause we're blinking a lot.
So we were talking about so basically the overview of that episode, and I'm trying to speak very eloquently today because we got some hate comments recently.
Stop. That's actually no, because like
I've been like thinking about that all week. but,
okay,
like,
I know you said the thing where you were like, sounds like they just want a podcast, and I was like, yeah. Okay, let's
know,
let you guys into this inside joke. So somebody commented.
I kind of just said that because I was like
Haha.
trying to make myself feel better.
Yeah. Okay. So somebody commented, like, not everybody needs a podcast. You're just yapping. Like, come back when you have something to contribute to society. And I was like, damn, because I have that thought a lot of like, not everybody needs a podcast. But like, guys, we were never included in this. Let's make that very clear. So
Yeah.
to be included in that conversation, I was like, damn. But then I thought about the fact that we've had this podcast for 2 years. And we have
Yeah.
113 different topics. Obviously, it's not going to be for everybody, but at the end of the day, we are contributing something because we're passionate about it. And as they said in La La Land, people love what other people are passionate about. So maybe
Yeah.
that just wasn't for that specific commenter, but
And I feel like even sometimes if we don't talk about the most, like we aren't experts on any of the topics that we talk about, but
I
like
never claimed to be.
it's more of just like a discourse on how we're feeling about a certain topic. And I think it's a good way I feel like our audience is the type of people that just need like, feel like they want a group of friends to like listen to and feel like they're part of a conversation, because I feel like our podcast is very conversational. It's more of just like, if you want to listen into 2 friends have a discussion about a topic that's relevant in the current society.
Exactly, because when you're talking with your friends and stuff at a coffee shop, you might be talking about some really deep topics, but you're not an expert on it and you don't have
Right.
factual evidence and all of that constantly. Like, that's okay because you're still 2 humans that experience the world and you're talking about it. So it's like, what's wrong with that? We never claim to be experts. So we're going to put that behind us. But that is
Maybe
kind of
this-
funny. Like, I'm glad that you're thinking about that too, because the haters,
I know. I still kind of am like, like I know that like we've gotten so many more positive comments. This is like one of our only hate comments we've ever gotten.
oh,
or
and
like
do it too, yeah.
yeah, and most of our other hate comments aren't even about like our content, if you know what I mean.
It's about me. It's about me. Fuck you
but that was our
guys.
response to the haters. But thanks for our true listeners who enjoy us, and hopefully we'll keep collecting more of y'all. But anyways,
I know we're not beating the bad podcaster allegations because we're continuing to rant and waste time. But okay. Childhood trauma.
anyways, yes. Okay, so 2 episodes ago was the Protecting Your Peace episode, and we were kind of talking about how like, I was talking about how I always want to be surrounded by friends if I am invited. Like I am an introvert and I need my alone time, and I'm learning that more and more recently. But like, I know that as a child, I always felt like left out or like had issues making friends, partly because of like feeling like I was always the quiet person, or just like going to such a small school where there was a very limited option of friends. And so I feel like it kind of like stunted my socialness a bit, because we can get in. I'm already like going off into a tangent because I just like thought of something. But anyways, that episode made us think like, oh, we should talk about our childhood trauma. But what I was just about to go down the rabbit hole of was me and Enzo both went to like a really small school I went from like preschool to 8th grade. And it's kind of like in kindergarten, you meet all the people who are basically who you're going to be with for the next 10
However
years
long.
or 9 years. And there's only every once in a while a new kid would come. And then you kind of live in a bubble in that environment. Like I had a few like outside of school things, or like I had one really outside of school best friend, but I felt like going to that school, which I don't regret going to that school at all, especially for elementary school. Like I loved going there for elementary school and I had a great time with the classes and teachers specifically. But I feel like going into kindergarten, it's like, all right, these are your friends for the next 9 years. And the way they perceive you now is how they're going to perceive you for the rest of the 8 years. So I feel like almost I felt like I couldn't be myself sometimes because people always saw me as like, oh, that's Anna. Like, you know, she's kind of reserved and quiet and like
I decided who you were in 4th grade. And even though now we're in not even 4th grade, I decided who you were in 1st grade and thought I had you figured out. And now we're in like 7th grade and I still see that same 1st grader. And it's like, that's not the most productive mindset to have because you feel like kind of stuck and you can't rebrand. I hate to use the word rebrand, but I feel like having those fresh starts, it's definitely healthy, but you just didn't really get that at that school.
And and then I always think back to this. There's this one girl in my class that I never really got along with. And one time in like 5th grade or something, she was like, Anna, I feel like I've really like gotten to see you come out of your shell over the years. And I like hate that phrase so much. I mean, we did a whole nother episode on this, like growing up as the quiet kid. Or I think that was my
it was Anna's solo episode.
But like that, like, it's good because it meant that I was like becoming more myself over the years. But it's also like, why do you perceive me as being in a shell? Like I hate that phrase. Like I'm not in a shell. Like this is like myself. Like I'm not hiding in a shell.
Okay, wait. This is just to like really push past surface level. Why do you think you hate that phrase so much? Obviously, of course, being compared to a shell and like those animal-like characteristics, it's like not fun. But what about that term? Do you think, like, what was the moment where you kind of like, I hate this term, don't say it?
I think it's because it's the feeling of like everyone else is out.
Okay.
In the world and then I'm in a shell. So it's almost like I felt like I was separated, and now we're in like a therapy session, but like
this is the goal.
Yeah, but like I feel like I was separated and almost seen as like a different type of person because I was in the shell and then everyone else was over here. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, because it's kind of like the world is the receiving end. So it's not like this girl could have worded it like, oh, I've gotten to know you so much more and have learned that we have so much in common. You know, it's not about what she has to learn about you. It's kind of like what you, like how you have entered the world as opposed to the world getting to know you better.
Yeah, that was such a great question though. And like, it makes me think now of like, I mean, I had kind of written a bit about this in my notes, but not gotten like super deep on it. But the feeling of like, there's everyone else and then there's Anna. Like, or if you're not me, everyone in my class is like, oh, blah, 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 we're friends. And then there's Anna. And that's like how I felt so much of the time.
Like you break into our group, you come out of your shell and come learn about us. But we're not going to make the effort to get to know you or understand, or even like to see why you're quiet. Because maybe it's like you don't feel accepted, or maybe you're just naturally introverted. You know what I mean? There's so many things that go into that. So it's just like the term like coming out of your shell. It's like, I've been here. Yeah.
That's so true. That's so good. Do you want to give your kind of like
sure.
Intro?
Yes. So mine are kind of all over the place. And also, I guess, this is kind of like a late disclaimer because we're like 20 minutes in, but when we talk about childhood trauma, we're just talking about things that like events or just specific moments that would happen in our
Oh,
childhood that have manifested into now. Of course, this is not diagnosed trauma or any sort of anything related to that. So just wanted to
yeah.
put that out there. And like, we're not trying to like
Well,
dilute or diminish the term at all, but this is just what that looks like for
yeah.
us.
Well, what I wanted to say, this is kind of my like at the top of my notes, my like intro was like technically, I mean, the word trauma is actually like can be applied to anything that negatively affects something that you're currently
Right.
a current negative behavior or tendency that you have. So I wanted to give that disclaimer as well that like we're calling it trauma and like technically it is trauma because trauma can go from like level 1 to level 10. And so like I feel like we had a very great childhood, both of
Right.
us, I think. So I think many of our experiences weren't like traumatic in the sense that others can be, you know, like we grew up with great families and stuff like that. But there are still things that happen in our childhood that affect negative behaviors that we do today.
Exactly. Yes, that was really well put. Okay, so going back to the protecting your peace episode, I almost forgot about it again. So what we kind of talked about in there is how, you were saying that you felt a lot of the thing was kind of like being invited or being excluded was kind of the main concern. But I was talking about how a lot of my, what some would call FOMO, stemmed from wanting to be there to defend myself and not wanting to give people the opportunity to talk about me in third person when I wasn't there to hear about it. And because I think that what that comes down to for me is growing up, especially like being queer in general, conformity is something that you think about a lot. And kind of this idea that I was really convinced that if I conformed and was just like what everyone wanted me to be, then life would be easy and there'd be no bumps in the road at all. So I think for me, I was so focused on like, what do you think about me and how people perceive me? Because I was just trying to like connect the dots to kind of get this external perspective of myself. So then I could match that internally. But then I learned that that's not how that works. And you don't match yourself internally to what the world wants you to be, because that's not being yourself at all. And you will not have positive quality of life from my experience. But yes, another thing, this is a little bit in a different direction, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because our childhood can really influence how we are today, because even smaller, what people might call just like mundane events, on the young mind, it can definitely like alter how you perceive something for the rest of your
Yeah.
life, which is so crazy. So one of the things
If you quick like side note, if you want, there's like so much interesting stuff to learn about this topic of like how your childhood affects you today. So like obviously we're not the experts as we
Right.
said before, so you should definitely go, like I'm sure there's some great podcasts or like articles out there or essays about this topic, because it's like actually a super interesting psychology topic of like your brain, especially as like a baby, like I even like it's like your brain gets stronger, I guess, as you grow up. So it's like in your earliest years, your brain can literally be like shaped by things that happen to you, even if you don't even know it's happening. Like, for example, like if your parents don't hold you as much as they should, you might get an anxious attachment because your brain is wired to your brain is literally wired at a young age to think like, I want attention from this person, but they're not giving it to me. So that's just my like
yes.
quick intro to that. Go read about that
No, we
somewhere else.
love. Okay, yes. So one of the things that I've been reflecting on recently from my childhood that definitely influenced how I am today is little acts of self-care that I guess are deemed as feminine in society. Feeling very self-conscious about that or wanting it to be a private thing. So for me, I grew up with friends in my neighborhood and stuff, and I feel like they would all paint their nails and stuff, and it would be this event that you weren't ashamed about, and they were there doing fun colors and stuff. But for me, I remember being told like, okay, if you do want to paint your nails, like do it at this time when everyone's away and you can only paint them black. So I like had painted my nails black when I was literally 4 or 5. And seeing how now I am scared to go to the nail salon. I like I hate like just any sort of not esthetician, cosmetic not treatment, service, I guess. Like even just getting my hair done, a haircut, whatever, has made me feel self-conscious. And that's why I think that I love doing my nails at home. Of course, that's not the only reason because there are things like cost and just convenience that go into that. But I think definitely for me,
That's so interesting.
right, I saw femininity as kind of this thing behind closed doors that I wanted to work towards or work for in private. So like,
Did you have did you
No,
have
you're
any
good.
experiences with like I always knew you like growing up as like the best person in the group to ask if you want to get your hair done. Like you were always the best at like doing people's hair. Do you think any of this has anything to do with anything?
oh, for
I'm just
sure.
wondering if that like works into the picture at all.
No, definitely, because I learned how to braid on my American Girl dolls, and then I would braid like my sister's hair and stuff because I had short hair at the time. And I remember just that was my way of expressing my femininity, but like through other people. So that's how I came to the conclusion that if I am to do this, it should be in private or shouldn't be this like displayed thing. You know what I mean?
So like only doing it to other people but not to yourself.
Exactly. So even now, like doing my makeup in the morning and just having that time alone by myself, I definitely appreciate it. And it's a good way to like slow down in the morning and just not have stimulants such as loud music or my phone going off or just people talking, whatever it is. But definitely even getting ready in groups and stuff, I always was like anxious about that because to me, it felt like I had my own secret remedy of like expressing my femininity, that it was kind of like if people see this and they like makes me vulnerable, or they're gonna assume that like, oh, this is what you look like without makeup, and like this is what you went through to look like this, and just being judged for that.
No, that's like actually so interesting. Like I would have never thought that. But
Yeah,
that's like
I had
so
this like
interesting.
epiphany the other day, and it was honestly crazy because I was like, wow, like that's why I get self-conscious about it. But then also I think there have been times where I'll get ready in groups. And like still I don't love to get ready in groups because bringing my makeup and all of that, and like I take up a lot of space. Like that's its own separate thing. But I think that's why sometimes getting ready in groups can feel a little euphoric because I'm like, wait, it was never that deep. Like I don't know why I thought it was this like huge thing, or like I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Huh. I can go into kind of like my next
Yes.
one.
I know,
I
I was
don't
like
know
going in circles.
we're just gonna like alternate or whatever. So I was kind of thinking earlier about like, yeah, I mean, most of my quote unquote trauma was, I feel like, caused by like friends and not really family. Like, I can't really think of anything family related that would have caused me trauma at a young age. Maybe like some things, but lots of things are subconscious that I might not even know about, but who knows. But the ones that I can definitely like trace back are, you know, how I was saying about feeling left out, feeling like the odd one out. I actually asked ChatGPT earlier, like based on the conversations I've had with you, ChatGPT, what do you think my
Oh,
traumas are?
you're
and
brave
it-
for
it-
that. I would never. I was like, don't expose me.
Yeah. So one of the ones it came up with was like control. And I think that's really interesting because basically I think that a lot of times being left out, like, I don't know, just not being invited to parties, or like, this is in like middle school. Middle school is like really traumatic, but like not being invited to birthday parties, or not being in on certain inside jokes with like the people in my class.
Yeah.
There were always times when I would be with a group of people and start asking like, what? Like, wait, what are you talking about? And then nobody would want to tell me.
Yeah.
And that just every single time that happened, I would be like, oh my gosh, like why, like what in the world did I do to where these people like don't want to tell me anything related to what they're talking about? And so I think that could relate now to like my very like anxious texting habits, where like needing to know exactly what's happening at what time, like with anyone. Like I always tell people so far ahead of time, like the plans, or like I'm always needing to plan things out and make sure that people are coming. So, and I think that has to do with like the fear, or like the subconscious fear of like maybe they're going to agree to the plan so far ahead of time. I don't want to plan something so late notice that they could want to cancel, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want people to know that I want to hang out like way far ahead of time so that they can't really back out of it.
Right. You know, when you were younger, they had these inside jokes. So that was in their control of who they want to share it with and what they want to define the inside joke as. So kind of now being like, okay, here's what I do have control of. I'm going to make sure that I have control of it, you know?
Yeah. And then sometimes still like kind of that inside joke topic, like if I'm in a group setting and people are talking about something and I kind of like missed, sometimes I'll just zone out and I'll just miss something and then I'll ask like what? Like I find myself asking what a lot in group settings. I don't know why. And then I feel like when people don't answer me or don't like fill me in, it almost like triggers that feeling of like people not wanting you to be in on something, which definitely traces back to all that stuff. I feel like that's also why I kind of distanced myself in certain group settings. Like, for example, a big one was like my dance class growing up. I feel like I never really made friends in my dance class because I kind of never made the effort to, because I was having such a hard time in middle school at that time that I didn't want to have to interact with more people. I didn't want to like have that opportunity of like more people leaving me out. So I kind of just like purposely left myself out, I guess. And that definitely just like intensified the feelings of like not being in on something or like feeling awkward if I wanted to say anything in a group, you know, like waiting for the perfect moment to say something and then that moment passes, et cetera, et cetera. And like, I feel like because of that, I still sometimes feel the same way when I'm in a group setting, especially at like every job that I've had. Like I sometimes just feel a little bit awkward, like talking in groups in a social way at work, like throughout all of the jobs I've had. Because it's almost like all the people that you're with are there not because of you, they're there because of work. So it's like they have no reason to want to talk to you. Whereas if I'm in a group at a party, maybe it's more likely that like these people will want to talk to me.
No, exactly.
If that makes sense.
No, I see. I see the vision. Okay.
What's your next one?
Okay. This one is hard to track the origin of it because I don't know. There was some sort of shift, which ironically is like kind of not really near the shifting era, but I think it was late middle school where people thought I was annoying. And so somewhere along the way, I equated being loud to being annoying and being disliked. So then when I started public school in 8th grade, I transferred schools. I definitely thought that less was more. This could be around the time on the internet where people were saying you want to be cool and mysterious and stuff like that. And also I had some internet recognition at the time. So I kind of thought that, you know, I should be more private. And so that's why I was very, very quiet at that new school. I was so scared that, okay, if I am loud, people are going to be like, oh, you're too much and start to dislike you. That being said, I feel like I have kind of outgrown that a little bit because I am a firm believer, and I'm not even just saying this, like I do believe that if I'm too much, go find less. Like I definitely I stand behind that.
That's
so that's kind of all there is to that one. That was a pretty short one, but yeah.
Was that like, I bet also a lot of that had to do with, because you started in 8th grade and it was online. So
for sure. So I was definitely like a little bit
kind
less.
of.
Yeah, but even like when I went in person, I kind of was like, oh, you already know too much about me because I have this YouTube channel and you've already seen me, you know who I am. And like, I'm embarrassed. So I'm just not going to say anything else because then you can't form any other opinions other than what you already think of me, which is weird. Just because you're loud doesn't mean you're annoying. Like I don't know who needs to hear this, but if that message resonates with you, it's because it's for you.
Yeah.
This was also around the time where I was getting internet recognition, like I said. And so I think that was the first time where I'd seen, you know, because before I'd post 15-minute YouTube videos when somebody would comment like, cool video, and nobody would actually comment about a specific moment or list a timestamp and be like, this was so funny. So I think it was the first time that I had noticed that even little things that I was saying, you know, whether it was blown out of proportion or just like being examined a little too much because there was a bigger audience. So now it's like really trying to decipher everything you're saying. So I think that then that's when I got to a point where I was like, if I just don't say anything at all, you can't look too far into something.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I had like a slightly similar experience when I went to SCAD, and I like the best my videos have ever done were my SCAD videos, and that I wasn't YouTube famous, but I was pretty much everyone that was an incoming freshman the year below me at SCAD had watched my videos. So like my
Yeah.
sophomore year, my sophomore year of SCAD, that's when everyone started coming up to me and being like, "Oh my gosh, are you Anna?" Or like, "I love your videos." Or like, usually it would be pretty chill, but like a few times people would I genuinely remember one time walking into a classroom building, and this girl came up to me and she was like freaking out, like she met like an A-list celebrity.
She
And
did.
it was just like, yeah, but it was a little bit like, I like being recognized because I think that's so fun. Like I genuinely do enjoy people recognizing me for my videos, but at the same time, I then started to have the feeling of like everyone is perceiving me at this
Oh,
exact moment. Like
yeah.
I hate the thought of being perceived. Like I don't know. Like I think that's so weird that other people like see me in third person. I don't know why, but like
We have an episode about the hating, or we hate being perceived, whatever. That is very true.
oh yeah,
I'll have to go
I
listen to
forgot about
that.
that. We have episodes about all this. We're
We're
starting to
literally like a
really
search engine at this point. Like you just like type something up and it's just like, here's the episode for you.
That's crazy. But yeah, it's like I'm sure we talked a lot about that, but it's probably just the being like more of an introvert, the feeling of like, or just not really knowing what people think of. I think that's partly what it is when I was a kid and like people didn't want to be friends with me sometimes. I thought that there must be something wrong with me or
It's like,
something.
why?
So
Why don't you want to include me?
yeah, so I think that's then why later on I hated being perceived like that, because I'm like, wait, is there something weird about me that I like am not
You're like, why
seeing?
am I so
Like,
interesting and cool to you? Like, am I doing something
yeah,
wrong? But it's like,
yeah,
no,
or
you're
like
just creative and funny and like
yeah,
helpful and insightful.
yeah, and not even about like those people perceiving me. It's more that like everyone else is also perceiving me. Like I'm fine with my viewers coming up and seeing me, but it's like, oh, the whole world actually sees me. Or when I'm walking on the street, like everyone sees me as another person. I don't know. That's like a very
Yeah.
abstract thought.
No, exactly, because they have like something to base their opinion off of you. It's like, oh, I know you from this, so this is what I think about you. Which
Yeah, like if I'm looking like really bad one day, like disheveled, that's like someone's first impression of me.
that's so real. That's literally why I'm like, don't meet me without makeup ever. But no, I'm just kidding. But no, I definitely resonate with that because after the TikTok went viral this year, which I feel like conceited, be like it went viral, but like it did some numbers, guys, where I was kicked out of a frat party and a bunch of people had come
Oh
up to
yeah.
me like the week after, like throughout the week after, and I just been like, oh, I seen your TikTok. And so then like I was very self-conscious because it was mostly girls coming up to me being like, I saw your TikTok, I'm so sorry, like you're so pretty, whatever, like just being nice. But then like the comments on that video weren't good. So I was like so self-conscious every time I passed a single man because I was like, if they all saw it, you saw it too. And if you're not saying anything, it's probably because your opinion of me aligns with that of the hateful comments. And of course, you're not going to say it to my face because you ain't got the balls for that. But yeah, yeah. So that was just like I definitely relate to being like, oh, you know me, but like how? Because now I feel like I have this like plastered to my face that's like there's nothing else to me other than the fact that I went to this party and I got kicked out and
Yeah.
yay.
Oh, so the next thing I kind of wanted to transition into was like just the phrase healing your inner child. Like we did do an episode, again, cross-referencing, about therapist speak, which is like saying phrases that therapists use, but at a more surface level.
Right, like throwing around
So-
psychological terms when you don't fully know the meaning and can't just be
Right,
throwing
right.
that around.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the idea of like healing your inner child. And like, I feel like in the past, I always kind of viewed this term as doing things that children would do that would make you feel like a child again, almost like, I don't know, like I'm gonna do a coloring book today because it'll make
Yeah.
me feel like a child, and it's like healing me because I get to feel like a child again in this like adult world. But I do think it's more like healing trauma that your inner child, like you have like an inner child in you that still has this trauma
Still
that needs to
yearning
be
for
resolved.
something.
Yeah, that needs to be resolved before you can move on. Slash yearning for like, I don't know, like if your inner child was left out a lot, you know, the concept of like now having a big group of friends or like having a lot of friends, which is kind of what I have now. Like I feel like I finally have lots of friends, and I don't really want too many more friends because it, like at the end of college I was getting like pretty busy.
Like we're at max
But-
capacity.
Yeah. But like, do you think that there are some things that you can do to heal your inner child?
Yes, I actually have a very timely one. This goes good with Halloween. But when I was 3 or 4, that just tends to be the age with this video or this episode. But I really wanted to be a mermaid for Halloween because, of course, growing up, I was obsessed with mermaids and that was my thing. They are my thing. I am a mermaid. But I remember my
Secretly.
mom was kind of like, no. And I was a pirate instead, which, not to put any dirt on my parents because they're very supportive, but just at the time that was the notion I was given. Okay, that was actually such a hard thing for me though, because I think obviously I really wanted to be a mermaid, but it's like I wanted to want to be a pirate, which is what I ended up being. Because that was like you could be a pirate. And it's like I wanted so badly to want to be the pirate because to me that was like pleasing, not just my parents, but the world. We're from the same
That's
place,
so,
the Bronx.
yeah, that's
the
so
world.
interesting.
Yeah. And so now,
Wow.
like I was a mermaid this year for Halloween, not for that specific reason, but when I did get ready and I like saw the costume, I really thought for a second, I was like, wow. Like
Wow, yeah.
me at 3 years old would be freaking out right now because not only am I a mermaid, but I look sick as so yeah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was definitely a fun moment. And I think also, I don't think this is healing my inner child, but I was obsessed with Barbie and Disney princesses and all the sorts as a child. So anytime I watch a Disney or Barbie movie, like I feel like I am just in touch with that youthful spirit, which is literally the goal of
Yeah.
Disney. Like they market
That's how,
everything
yeah,
for that reason. That's literally the birth of Disney adults.
that's how I feel. That's kind of like another example of what I thought healing your inner child was more of like when I watch my comfort childhood movies, like the Aristocats is a big one, and I'm just like curled up watching that movie. It's like I feel connected to my childhood self, which is
I feel connected. Literally that ties in perfectly because we
Yeah.
love Barbie and the Diamond Castle.
yes, that is a way that I do heal my inner child. Is just like reconnecting with those things that remind me like where I've come from or like who
You're-
I am
yeah.
now, or just like it's almost like I can be my childhood self in my current body and realize like how much has happened to me throughout life,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, or like
How far you've
where
come.
I am now. Yeah, how far I've come. That's the phrase I was looking for, and I could not find it apparently.
There's just no far, or there's just no telling how far I'll go. Everybody on this island.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think like I'm trying to think if there's any other ways that I like need to or have healed my inner child. Probably just like the feeling of how I have come out of my shell.
Tongues out for shells. I'm just kidding.
But like the feeling of sometimes if I'm meeting a new group of people, it just goes really well and I don't feel like a shy person at all. And when that happens, I'm like, wow, look how far I've come. Like I just had a conversation with new people that wasn't scary at all and was
Yeah.
actually like enjoyable. So like when that happens, I think I'm at the most of like, wow. Slash, I don't know, just people like wanting to hang out with me. Crazy concept. So
Okay, wait. This is kind of an interesting random thought that I had, but when it comes to healing your inner child, and of course we're going based off of the surface level definitions once again, but it's almost like there's two sides to it. There's doing something that your younger self did and kind of reconnecting with that and learning why you loved something. Because yes, it's like so many kids love Barbie and a specific Barbie movie, but why? Is it because it has a happy ending or there's good music? So just kind of reconnecting with what you loved about it when you were more in your youth, I suppose. But then there's also the other form of healing your inner child where you're doing something that your younger self didn't do. So you're almost kind of living vicariously through yourself, which is crazy, but you kind of have to step into the shoes of
Yeah.
the 5-year-old who never got to do something, the 5-year-old who never got to paint their nails fun colors. And now you're doing that and kind of living that experience for your younger self, but also
Yeah.
for the 18-year-old who wanted to do that at 5 years old.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
Thank you.
That's
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. And thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
What flavor yerba mate do you have?
They were handing them out in the
Mint?
streets. It was like a sponsored thing. Bravo, Mango. Bravo, Mango. You did that.
That's my favorite.
Cheers.
Mango and peach are my favorite.
And it was free.
Cheers. I actually have one in my fridge right now. This is a crazy time to be drinking that, though. Well, I guess it's 6 for you, not 7. But
Yeah, and don't make me
6,
give the spiel
7,
again. 6, 7.
6,
Don't make me give the
7.
spiel, guys. Caffeine doesn't affect me.
yes.
Okay, but do you have any examples of...
whatever.
Okay, so you talked about how watching the movies and stuff like that was reliving experiences, but do you think that like when you meet new people and you're like really social, or okay, you perceive it in more of a how far I've come kind of way, but do you think you have any moments where you're like, oh, I wish I was able to be this social and felt comfortable being like that in elementary school, so now I'm doing that and now I'm doing what younger Anna didn't do? Like, do you ever
Ooh.
feel like, does that ever click, you know?
That's interesting. Are you saying like that I wish that I had been that way in the past?
Yeah, because of course, you were saying like, oh, I was just quieter and that's like all there was to it. But do you think because you felt excluded and kind of saying how you were almost like, okay, well, I'm just going to exclude myself. Do you ever have any moments in the present where you're like, oh, I'm intentionally
wish I could,
including
like-
myself because me in the past intentionally excluded myself?
Yeah, definitely. I just kind of came up with that thought today of like intentionally excluding myself, but I'm sure that like definitely did happen as I started to realize the patterns of like being excluded. So yes, I would say like I make so much more of an effort now when meeting new people to be like, okay, this is my chance to like have new friends. And now that I'm 23, like I can do it because I've learned throughout college that I can do it. So yeah, I definitely do feel like I am intentionally, like trying to be more social, like trying to go into it as like, I think I'm also just more confident in myself. So I have the ability to go into conversations being like, oh, they'll think I'm cool. Like, like I have nothing to
like
worry
you're more
about.
sure of yourself.
Yeah. But like I said earlier, there are still moments when, especially in like work environments or like, I don't know, just environments where it's,
More pressure.
there's just a lot of people there.
Oh,
I don't know, actually. But anyways, all that to say, like, there is just like times still where I still feel that come out again of how I felt as a kid of like, oh my gosh, I like can't, I'm just being so awkward right now. I can't like everyone's seeing me as this other person. But for the most part now, I don't feel that way, which is really good.
yes. Okay, we love.
Yes. This was such a great
I know.
therapy session.
Therapy
though.
session. Yes.
We've been having some good therapy sessions recently.
Yes. And contributing to
therapy.
society a whole lot.
Yeah, guys. Well, as you know, we'll be back next Tuesday with another episode, as we always are. And comment, go follow us on Instagram at the Telepathy Pod. That's where we post snippets and just topics
And our music shout outs on
music
Music
shout-outs.
Monday, maybe. Music Monday.
Yeah, that's the most important thing reason to follow us. Subscribe to us on YouTube, the Telepathy Pod, if you don't, so that you get the video in your subscription box, because I know that sometimes Spotify is hard to see new updates.
Correct.
But yes.
Yeah, and thanks to
Anything
BetterHelp
else?
for sponsoring this episode. No, I'm just kidding. Imagine. Just kidding. We are the therapy. No, I'm just kidding. That's a wild thing to say. Thank you guys for listening. I am so glad we had this chat today and that you guys could be a part of it. As parasocial as it sounds, it's okay. But yes, we'll see you guys next Tuesday for another episode. Catch you there. See you on the flip side. Bye.
Adios.